Hello and welcome to the Wicker Library. My name is Aaliyah and today I'm going to be doing the queer book tag, which was created by one of my dear friends, Anya. I will leave her channel and the original tag video below, but yeah, I am going to also be painting my nails because my nails are really crusty right now and I don't want you to see them, but the color is going to be sage green because this is a very queer book tag and sage green is queer culture, so in case you didn't know. But I'm going to be talking a lot about queer books today and I'm just very excited. So let's get right into it. While I put on the base gel, because I'm doing gel nails because I'm all fancy, I am going to talk about the first question, which is queer faves. What is your favorite queer book that you've read so far this year? So I almost only read queer books, so there's a lot to choose from, is what I'm saying. But I have to say The Deep by Rivers Solomon was the last book that I read that was really it just struck me so deeply. And The Deep is a book that is very, very queer, and it does it in a way that's not, I don't know, it's not necessarily the focus of the novel, which, you know, some people prefer that, some people don't. I read either books, whether queerness is the main focus or not, but the book follows what I believe is pronounced Wajinru. I could be completely incorrect about that, but they live under the deep, the water, the deep, and they're descendant from enslaved women who were thrown overboard of the slave ships as they were crossing. And the pregnant women gave birth underwater, and then there are these new creatures that are created, and the main character carries all of the trauma and all the memories, and so none of the rest of her people do. I'm explaining this kind of poorly, but it is very fantastic. It's a short novella, but please do check out the content warnings beforehand, but it's a fantastic read. So I'm realizing that I should have done my other hand first, but this is just the base coat, so it doesn't really matter. Ignoring that, I'm going to go into question number 2, which is lesbian, just lesbians in general. And what is your favorite FF book, female loving female book? And for me, that is probably In the Dream House by Carmen Machado. In the Dream House is technically her memoir, but it is told in a bunch of different forms and it is phenomenally written. I love Carmen Machado so dearly. I've technically met her twice at readings and things, and she is so lovely, and I love her writing so very much. And In the Dream House does follow an abusive female-female relationship, but it does so with such grace, and there's even parts of it that are written as like a horror story or a haunted house story, I should say, and some are like choose your own adventure story, and it's all different formats, and it's definitely one of the best memoirs I have like ever read in my life. So I would highly recommend that, but it does follow a very abusive relationship that Carmen was in, so please be wary of that going into the book. Next up is Male Loving Male, so favorite MLM book, and that is a no-brainer for me. One of my favorite books of all time is The Wicker King by Kay Ancrum, and that book follows 2 boys, and they are very much in love, but it is not a romance book. And it is just, I've reread it so many times and I've talked about it so many times on this channel. I'm sure you all are sick of me talking about it, but I don't care because I think everyone should read it. It is really hard to explain, but it follows a friendship between these 2 boys who grew up really only with each other and their childhood friends. And one of them starts to see things that aren't really there. And it goes really deep into mental health and becoming like a caregiver and becoming someone who, a child, a kid who has the weight of their the world on their shoulders, really. And it's about neglect, and it's just, it never fails to make me feel just so loved by the end of it and so seen. And yeah, that book is just one of my favorite ever. So it also has an MLM relationship in it. So I have to put it for this question. All right, so the base layer is on. Obviously you can't see shit because it's just the base layer. But we are going into question number 4, which is your favorite book with a bisexual main character. And I read this one last year, and it was one of my favorite reads of the year. It's fucking so good. And it is You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty by Akwaeke Emezi, my favorite author of all time. Yes, we know, Aaliyah, you love them, you would die for them. But You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty is Emezi's first romance novel. And it is so full of joy, and it is so messy, and it is so funny, and it's also so sad and full of grief, and the conversations that happen are just amazing, and the writing is phenomenal. But the characters are what really drew me in. Even specifically, actually, the side characters are just, I want to know them in real life. Well, maybe not all of them. I want to know and date Joy, who is Fei, the main character's best friend. I love Joy with my entire heart. But the book follows Fei, who is dealing with a lot of grief. She lost her husband tragically, and as you can surely assume, that is not an easy thing to go through, but it doesn't really focus on her trauma initially from that. It's actually about her healing, and it's all the relationships she gets into, and there's travel, and there's mess. There's a lot of mess, there's a lot of sex. But both the main character is bisexual, and her love interest, I'm not gonna say the main love interest, is also bisexual. So it is phenomenal bisexual representation, I hear, and almost all of the characters are queer, and it's just phenomenal. I love that book so much. I really do need to do a reread of it sometime soon. The next question is, what is your favorite book with a trans MC? So I don't want to recommend Akwaeke Emezi's books again, like 2 times in a row, but Akwaeke Emezi themselves is a Ogbanje, which is a Igbo cultural entity, and it's an embodied form. So I want to be clear when I say that they are not non-binary. They don't like that flesh term, so I'm not going to use it for them, but they do identify as trans. So almost all of their works feature some sort of transness in them, but specifically Pet has a trans girl for the main character, and she's wonderful, and that book is so good. But instead of continuously just recommending the same author, I am going to instead also recommend officially Detransition Baby by Tori Peters. This book is super, super good. If you don't enjoy messy, unlikable characters who by the end of the story you might still disagree with so intensely, you might not want to pick this one up. But personally, I enjoy chaos, and this book features 2 characters and they are both trans, and one of them has detransitioned, and there are reasons for that it goes into that I won't get into because it takes away a lot from the book. But they had a relationship when they were both presenting as trans women, and they ended up breaking up. But now, skipping a few steps and skipping a few plot points, they have to raise a baby together, or they have to not raise a baby together, but they want to raise a baby together. It's a mess. It's really hard to explain, but it is such an enjoyable read. and the characters are what shine. Like, the voices of each of the points of view are so distinct and so clear, and you don't agree with the characters most of the time, and a lot of time you want to slam them into a wall and like shake them and be like, what the fuck are you doing? What are you saying? But at the same time, somehow you still love them. Somehow you are still rooting for them. And yeah, it is a great book. I would highly recommend reading that. For question 6, we have, what is one of your favorite own voices queer books? So for my queer favorite from this year, I included a Rivers Solomon book, and for this question as well, I'm also going to include a Rivers Solomon book. I just love fair writing so much. But Sorrowland is probably one of my favorite books of all time. Another one I really just need to reread, but it was one of my favorites of last year or the year before, and it follows, how much does it follow? It has a lot of like body horror, science fiction elements to it, but there's also just so much more going on. I really don't know how to eloquently encompass all that book is in a blurb, so I'd really recommend just reading the official blurb instead of listening to me, but I will attempt to explain this book. And it really just starts off with Vern, a teenager, I believe, at the start of the book, and she's pregnant and she is with twins, and she's running in the woods, and she's running from something we don't yet know, but there's a cult, there's twins, there's really odd things happening to her body, and there's also just so much queerness, and the main relationship in that book is queer and includes a trans woman, and it also is sapphic, and it's just beautiful and wonderful, and I love that book so much. I would highly recommend it. All right, so you can't judge, like, right? Like, that's decent. That's one hand done. Is it my left hand, which means it'll look better than my right hand because I write with my right hand? Yes, but we're not going to talk about that. Instead, we are going to talk about question 7, which is my question, which is, what is your favorite book with an aro-ace main character, aromantic or asexual or both? And personally, I identify as both aromantic and asexual, so yay me. I guess, I don't know how to like follow that up. But my favorite aro-ace writer for certain is Darcy Little Badger and Alice Oseman. Both of those are very prominent authors, and I am deciding to put Alatsue for my official pick for this question. Alatsue is such a beautiful book. Like, obviously the cover is stunning, but the book is equally as stunning. And the main character is just so relatable to me, and she's so wonderful, and just, I love her so much. It does read a little more middle grade, because I do believe it's middle grade, but it's very accessible to all ages, and it is wonderful. It follows a bit of a mystery. She's trying to solve the death of, I believe it's her uncle, and it has a lot of indigenous folklore and a lot of native like storytelling, and it is just so wonderful, and it's also supernatural, and it is incredible. And one of my favorite things about this is that it goes against so many popular tropes in YA / middle grade / literally every fucking book ever, especially miscommunication. And when, the main character, it's always this time where it's like they're just not believed, but the main character in this book is almost always believed by her parents, and it is so refreshing, and it just shows what you can do when you divert from tropes, and it just makes the story so much better, and it's phenomenal, and I highly recommend it. I also would recommend her second book, which is, I believe, A Snake Falls to Earth. I think that's the title. It was equally as phenomenal, and I do believe the main character is also aromantic, asexual, and that one's just so sweet and so endearing as well. So Darcy Little Badger, auto-by author of mine, and I would love to meet her someday. All right, I'm going to officially start painting. Almost used the wrong fucking one. Whatever. Next question is pansexual main character. What is a favorite book of yours with a pansexual main character. And for this one, I have another just author to recommend. Ooh, I'm so shaky. Stop it. Stop it. But that author is Riley Redgate. And my favorite book by hers is probably 7 Ways We Lie. And that has a pansexual main character. I'm pretty sure I think all of her books have a pansexual main character. And that book is so much fun. It does get kind of dark, but it was such an interesting concept. And the concept of the book is that each of the characters there's 7 characters, and they're each based on the 7 deadly sins. So the way she wrote these characters was she worked backwards from their like fatal flaw, basically. So there's gluttony, what are the 7 deadly sins? There's gluttony, there's lust. I don't know. I'm not remembering them. I haven't read that book in a very long time, but it was a really cool concept, and I felt it was pretty well executed. It was a very quick YA read, and the characters really get to you. You fall for them. You don't agree with everything they do, and there is a content warning for a student-teacher relationship. It is not romanticized, and it is very clearly not good, but it is a prominent part of the book. So please be wary of that going in. But yeah, I would highly, highly recommend Riley Redgate's books. I've read all of them except her newest one, so I really got to get on to that. But that one's sci-fi, and I kind of tend to stay away from sci-fi. But Riley Redgate is an auto-buy author of mine, so I got to be a real fan and pick up that book soon. Next question is, what is your favorite book by and featuring a queer person of color? And I'm pretty sure all but one of my recommendations so far have been written by people of color. Which one of you is white? I think Tori Peters is white. My favorite book for this prompt I figured I would put is Girl, Woman, Other by Bernardine Evaristo. That book was so good, and it features so many queer characters, and it goes into womanhood, and I don't even know where to start to explain that book. It is one that I would highly recommend annotating. It is such a fun book to annotate because it's multiple storylines, it's multiple generations, and everything is woven together so effortlessly. And the characters are so three-dimensional, and they feel so real, and they're so messy, but also they're so relatable. And yeah, Bernardine Evaristo is a Black woman, and I would highly, highly recommend that book if you're looking to add some very good books to your TBR. There's a fucking bubble. Sorry to flick y'all off, but there's a bubble. I'm gonna try and paint over it and just like hope it goes away. The next question, ignoring the bubble on my fucking nail, is also the final question, and that is, what queer books are you looking forward to reading in the next year or so? So I'm choosing to really go off the year or so because some of these books are going to be published in 2024, and I am so fucking excited for all of them. I'm going to also include the release dates for them so you all can keep them on your radar. I also will probably make a 5-star predictions video at the beginning of 2024, so some of these might appear in that video. But getting into them, I'm just going in a random order. I'm not going out of an order of when things come out because I'm not that organized, okay, you guys? You gotta cut me some slack. The first book I want to talk about, though, is Bellies by Nicola Denon, and it comes out in 2023, thank fuck. And it comes out July 6th, and that is near my birthday. I don't know much about this book except that the cover is fucking gorgeous. I believe it features a trans main character, and it is literary fiction, and it just looks right up my alley. I haven't looked at the blurb since I added it to my TBR, so I know that the blurb like the actual premise of the book also appealed to me. I just fully forget what said premise was, but it is one that I am keeping my eye on, and I've seen only raving reviews. Also, who was it that, oh, Elliot Page posted the book and like a raving review for it on his Instagram, and that's just, world combining like that is kind of wild. So if Elliot Page likes it, then, well, hopefully I like it, because that'd be embarrassing for them if they don't have taste. So the next one I want to talk about is Homebodies by Tembe Denton Hurst. I might be pronouncing their first name incorrectly, which I apologize for. I should have looked it up beforehand. But Homebodies is Black lesbian literary fiction, and I believe the characters are college-aged, and they are, I believe, like playwrights. And those are such scattered like bits of information about the book, but it is all I need, honestly. And that releases also in 2023, and it releases May 2nd. So it's coming out really soon. I pre-ordered it. Of course, the cover looks really, really interesting, and I have just such a good, solid feeling about that book. It sounds like everything I want in a book, and it's the genre I'm really into right now, and it just looks amazing. So that is on my radar. And the next book that is coming out in 2023 that I have my eye on is The Late Americans by Brandon Taylor. I have read one other book by Brandon Taylor, which was Real Life, which is the one everyone's fucking read, and I really enjoyed it. But The Late Americans apparently also follows more college-age students, which I love because I'm in college. I'm college-aged. So there's that. All queer characters, of course. Duh, this fucking video. But The Late Americans, I just know that they're in college, that it's like a tight friend group, it's a found family, it's messy characters, and they're academics. And I'm just like, say less, Brandon, say less. So that releases May 23rd, and I'm really looking forward to that. The final two books that I cannot fucking wait to get my little paws on are coming out, sadly, in 2024. So I have to wait a long ass time, and I'm not patient, but at the same time, I forget shit so quickly, so it'll be like a surprise. It'll be like a reward. But the first one is Dear Wendy by Anne Zhao, and Dear Wendy comes out 2024, April 16th, and it features two aromantic asexual characters who meet because they're either rivals, or they're both like creating this online dating advice, but no one knows that they're both aromantic and asexual. And I'm sold. That is all I need. If you have any and all recommendations for queer books, obviously, please leave them below. But specifically, characters who are aromantic and or asexual, I need them. I need those. I need those books. I don't see enough of them, and I would love to find some more. Now, deep breath, okay? This is the one I'm most excited for, and doesn't come out till 2024, and doesn't even have an official release date, which is a travesty. Which is really, really disrespectful. But that is Icarus by Kay Ancrum. Another Kay Ancrum book. I am foaming at the mouth for this. I know that it's going to be close-knit friendships. I know it's going to be based on Greek mythology. And I know Kay Ancrum is the author, and she is the woman I love. So I'm just looking forward to that book so much. It sounds right up my alley, and I will do so many crimes to get a hold of an arc of that book, or someone who has the draft right now. I don't even know if the draft exists yet because it's coming out in 2024, but I need it and I want it, and I will kill for it, actually. But calming down, I am going to now put on a top coat. There's still a fucking bubble in this. Yeah, that was disrespectful. Y'all didn't deserve that. But there's a freaking bubble, and I don't know what to do about it. So I'm gonna do nothing. I want to tag two creators for this queer book tag. Please don't be pressured, of course, to create this tag for your own channels, but these are two creators that I have such similar taste to, so this is just a very selfish tag where I just want to see what they recommend so that I can read it. And the first creator I want to tag is Stories for Coffee, Olivia. I love her videos, and we have like scarily identical taste, and yeah, I would just kill for any recommendations from her, but especially queer books recommended by her. And the second creator I want to tag is Jessie on YouTube. I've loved their videos for years, and their taste is just immaculate, and I would really love to hear what they recommend for this tag. And yeah, anything that is Jessie approved, I will snatch up so quickly from the library. As I finish up my nails, I am going to turn off the camera so I can actually focus on this top coat, and I will be back for the outro. All right, so thank you so much for watching. Here are the finished nails. They're not like the best, but like you don't have to look too closely. You can just, they're green, they're cute, they're better than they were before. I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to subscribe, like, comment. If you did enjoy it, I do love hearing from you. And let's see, if you made it all the way to the end of this video, comment a green heart so that I know, and you're cool if you do that. But yeah, I will see you in the next video.